Yeah. Hello everyone. Welcome to today's video of PMBOK 7 series. Today we're going to talk about delivery performance domain. So far in my previous videos we have discussed stakeholder performance domain, team performance domain, lifecycle performance domain, planning domain, and project work performance domain. Let's get into today's video. What are the activities and functions associated with delivery performance domain? The functions associated are delivering the scope and the quality of the project that was undertaken to achieve. So basically, are you delivering what has been promised in terms of scope and in terms of quality? What are my desired outcomes to ensure the effective execution of this performance domain? We need to ensure that project contribute to the business objectives and advancement of strategy. It's very important that whatever the business outcome is expected need to be uh, satisfied, and there should be an advancement of strategy whatever we planned. Project should realize the outcomes they were initiated to deliver. The benefits are realized in the time frame. Within the time frame, all the business benefits are being realized or not, right? That shows your effectiveness of execution. The project team should have a clear understanding of requirements. And finally, the acceptance of the project by the stakeholders on all the project deliverables, right? So these are the desired outcomes of effective execution of this performance domain, right? So let's look at key terms we are going to get introduced for this delivery domain. So we need to understand what is a requirement. We already discussed in previous videos as well. A requirement is a conditional capability that need to be present in the product or service you're going to produce, which is satisfying a business need. Work action structure is a very technical word in project management. It is a hierarchical decomposition of the total scope of the work. So it will be breakdown from the scope statement, bigger chunks and then smaller chunks. It will be detailed out to a smallest level of called work package. What is definition of done? Definition of done is a checklist of all the criteria required to be met so that the deliverable can be considered ready for customer use. Right? It's a list of activities you need to ensure that the product or the requirement is being accepted or getting done. What is quality? Is a quality degree to which a set of inherent characteristics are fulfills the requirement. Right? Some of the examples like durability, scalability, your code coverage, your defect containment. So all those things can be quality parameters. Then the final term is the cost of quality. All the cost incurred over the life of the product, it can be for prevention cost, it can be for pricing cost. So whatever money you are putting, in terms of requirement gathering or understanding it, putting in design reviews and everything, all these things are giving a training. It's called prevention. Appraisal cost, anything you do it for validate the product or testing the product. And finally the warranty cost, like failure to meet requirements. Right, so let's get into different functions of delivery performance domain. Right, so first attribute is the delivery of the value. Right, so nowadays we are not talking about delivering the product alone, we are talking about delivering the business value, whatever the project deliverables we are looking at. Right, the delivery of value, it depends on whether you're using a single delivery or a multiple deliveries or a periodic delivery. Right, for a single delivery you'll be doing a delivery of value at final point of time. A periodic delivery you will be doing every a month or every 3 months, right? So business value is being realized. And the next aspect of delivery of value is capturing the business value. every story, every epic or every requirement, you need to capture what is the business value of this particular project or portfolio or a particular module or whatever it is. So you need to capture that, and then for that you need to report that, and then validate at every point of time if the team is delivering a business value as stated in their baseline values. That's very important. The business case, right? So business case is very important for delivering the value. The business case will demonstrate its estimates for return on investment. It will talk about what is the estimated return on investment, right? That you can compare with the actual return on investment, right? The business case, the business value is getting captured not only during the project, it will be captured after the project completion, so still it will be tracked, just compared with an estimate of return on investment, so that it is even after 4 or 5 years, certain projects like metro rail or certain projects like highway projects, governmental projects, right? The return on investment will take 20 years, 30 years. So you need to capture the business value and compare it throughout the project and beyond the project's term as well. And the business scale will talk about the revenue streams, all the revenue streams estimated, expected from this execution of the project. So you need to compare that, all the revenue streams are captured and what is the revenue expected. Are we getting a real revenue as per the planned one? So that also you can do that. The project outcomes with the organization objectives. The project outcomes of this project, does it matching the strategy objectives of the organization? That's very important, right? Alignment between the strategy and execution is very important. And the finally is the project charter, where which can be used as an authorization document, where the project manager is getting nominated. We'll talk about high level business outcomes, even the business case, and high level data about the business value at delivering, right? So these are the ways and means in which you can capture the delivery value and track the values and compare with the planned and actual. And the second one is deliverables, right? There are multiple deliverables you look at it, right? If you look at certain deliverables and requirements, you will be starting with the requirement elicitation, the clear capturing of all the requirements, stated or explicitly by the customer or end users. So requirement elicitation should be clear, concise, verifiable, consistent, complete, and traceable, right? It's very important. Traceability is also very important. You should be able to trace the requirement to a design, to an implementation, to a testing and test cases, and final deployment and release notes. And that's called traceability. And evolving and discovering requirements. So the requirements generally evolve, and you need to be able to discover the requirements on phase according to a life cycle. In an adaptive method, the product backlog is being updated periodically for every sprint, during the sprint review and during the grooming sessions, right? So it will be evolving and discovering, and requirements need to be managed using a traceability matrix, and you need to have different levels of requirements management, like business requirement and SRS, FSD. So you'll have a different levels of requirements being captured and managed and tracked and traced as well, right? And the second set of deliverables comes in the scope statement, right? Scope statement is nothing but your total work involved for delivering the entire set of business values or business outcomes. In a predictive method, we will talk about WBS, work breakdown structure, right? In adaptive methods, we talk about multi-level planning, epics, break it down into features, further break it down to stories. You can further break it down to task, right? Completion of deliverables. How we ensure that this particular deliverable or a particular story is being completed. You can use acceptance criteria or a technical performance measure or definition of done, right? These are the indication or validation mechanism for ensuring the completion of deliverables, right? This is how we accept that deliverable. This is how the product owner, the product managers are accepting the deliverables delivered, right? And the moving targets of completion of delivery, right? What do we mean by moving targets? Let's say this is the initial schedule, right, for 12 months, and you are identifying some new features identified in the month of 7 and 8, and that requires additional 2 months of work, right? and then it's called done drift. Actually, it's moving targets of completion. Then another set of new queues is identified at the end of the 12th month, and you're going for another drift of 2 more months. So this how you can move a targets of completion according to what changes you are arriving at, right? The third function application of delivery of value is the quality, right? So along with the delivery, the parameters of product variables, you have to ensure that quality of the product also met, right? In the acceptance criteria, I will talk about functional requirement as well as the non-functional requirement. The non-functional requirement will talk about what is the quality, performance, scalability, all those things we'll talk about. Right? Functional, acceptance criteria. The functional side of it will tell you what is the business case, what is the business process, what is the business flow, right? How it can be validated. Similarly, for performance aspects also, quality aspects also, something like code coverage, something like TTD. You need to ensure that what is the code coverage we are maintaining, what is the code review standard we are maintaining. All those things will be mentioned as part of the definition of done as well as the acceptance criteria. Right? What I mean by cost of quality, right? So the amount of money we are putting in efforts we are for the execution of quality measures. Right? So there are two types of cost of quality. First one is the prevention cost actually, right? So anything you fund or spend money on preventing the you know uh, quality degradation or non-conformance, we call that equation. So for example, the product and service requirements, capturing that product and service requirements, requirement management, entire requirement elicitation. What does it ensure, for you is, it is ensuring that, bringing the scope ready for you is everybody is in same page, entire set of team members and stakeholders are in line with, the scope of the project, the product requirements or service requirements. That is preventing a non-conformance, right? So preventing that non-needed work is avoided. We are minimizing the maximum, we are maximizing the not work done. And similarly, quality planning and assurance. What are the different set of activities we're going to do as part of quality planning? How I'm going to ensure that what are the different activities I'm going to plan it? How I'm going to do the quality assurance? Right? Quality assurance will deal about more process perspective. What are the different reviews, and what are the processes we are going to follow in terms of quality? That's very important. And the training, any effort on training, right? To ensure that to avoid the degradation of service or product quality. And the next cost is an appraisal cost. The appraisal cost nothing but the money you spend on activities for validating and confirming that the product is doing good. Right? It's about a quality check. It's about testing the product. Verification, right? Verification of the QC check. Every product or every car, whatever you manufacture, it will go for a QC check and certified by the quality team, quality control team. Right? And you can do the quality audits and supplier rating. Right? Supplier rating is one way of giving the feedback to the supplier, understand who are the top suppliers for you. That's also an appraisal cost, right? And there are other two type of cost of quality: are internal failure cost and external failure cost. What is an internal failure cost? So during your validation of QC, if you come across any bugs and defects, and you have to do a rework for that, fixing that work, right? That is called internal failure cost for fixing the internal failures. Similarly, once you deliver the product, the car is delivered to the customer, a particular laptop is delivered to the customer, there will be a warranty or claims in terms of failure. The product is getting failure, right? You will be incurring a cost of replacing that particular product with a new one, right? That's called cost incurred due to external failures, right? So this is the chart that helps you to understand how the cost of change curve, it's exponentially cost of change has been increased as the phases move along, right? In the x-axis you're putting the number of all the phases of this life cycle, and y-axis you're putting the cost of change, right? This chart is called Boehm's cost of change curve. The change gets more expensive over time, right? Because if you are getting a change during testing and production, look at that amount of rework you have to go through that, right? This is more of chart for a predictive adaptation, predictive life cycle, right? Look at that. If you can capture all the changes during the requirement phase itself, the cost will be 1x. But if you start capturing your changes in the testing phase or building phase, it's become 20x and 50x. If you do it after production, it is 150 times of the cost. Right. So with that, we are coming to a conclusion of this video. So finally, now we'll touch upon how do I check my results of my desired outcome. So we discussed, when we start this video, we discussed about 5 desired outcomes, right? The project contribute to the business objectives and advancement of the strategy. How do I check effective execution of this desired outcome? The business plan and the organization strategic plan, along with the project authorization documents, demonstrate that the variables and objectives are aligned, right? All these documents, business plan, strategic plan, the project charter kind of document, should demonstrate that there is a mapping between deliverables and business objectives, and you should be able to do it in a regular status report as well as your performance reviews, right? How do I check the desired outcome of project, realize that outcomes they were initiated to deliver? How do you ensure that the project is realizing the outcomes what is initiated to deliver? When the project kickoff happens, what are the outcomes we decided, right? How do I realize that, right? The business case and underlying data indicate that project is still on track to realize the intended outcomes, right? So you need to produce the data in terms of performance measure, in terms of stakeholder communication reports, that whatever the business objectives and outcomes, you need to ensure that it's still on track. So every report to a strategic leadership should contain this information, right? So similarly, the benefits realization plan, the business case, should indicate that financial metrics and scheduled deliverables are being achieved as planned, right? Every strategic report, status reporting should contain the financial metrics and scheduled deliverables, right? In a predictive development, a little change in the requirements reflects understanding. See, one of the desired outcome is whether team has a clear understanding of the requirements, right? See, if you look at that, in a predictive development ways, at the end of the requirement phase, there will be a walkthrough, from a business analyst team to other teams like design teams and uh, implementation teams or any other testing team. So that particular phase, there's an exit criteria ensures that these requirements are got signed off by the customer. At the same time, it got signed off and agreed upon with existing project team members. In an adaptive method, what happens in a sprint planning meeting, it is being ensured that product is getting groomed, the grooming sessions and sprint planning sessions, and team will agree that this is my sprint goal. I understood, right? The definition of ready is being given acclaimed, and then whatever the definition of ready completed stories, it will be taken for the sprint and they will be completed with the definition of done. So that's how the understanding of the requirements is is managed in both predictive and adaptive methods, right? Finally, the stakeholder acceptance and satisfaction, right? So you can do the interviews and observation. In one of the companies, we will do the customer satisfaction survey, net promoter scores, and all those things, indication of acceptance of the stakeholders, right? And the level of compliance and returns can also be used to indicate the satisfaction, right? Whatever the feedback given by the customer, right? Whatever the negative feedback, you need to understand that it's a you need to improve or you need to change certain activities and process, right? So with that, we are coming to the conclusion of this particular video. So thanks for patient listening. Please share your comments. What are the different videos you would like to learn from in terms of project management or agile methods. So you can share your topics. I can try to create videos on those topics. So thanks for listening. We will see you tomorrow. Bye bye.